everyone, Cynet here again today, and today we're going to be going over my Endymion deck. Yes, it's been somewhat kind of a while. I've had a lot of time to think and try to change, and I've working my hardest at it. Yeah, I know. Still been complaining. Still been trying my hardest and stuff, but yeah. Change is slow, but it is happening. So today we're gonna go over an old favorite of mine, Pendulums. We all know back in the day I used to be a very big Pendulum fan. If anyone's seen my cringy Yu-Gi-Oh fan-made series before I deleted it, yeah. So yeah, today we're gonna go over my Endymion Pendulums. So yeah, let's check that out. Alright, so of course I'm main decking 3 of the big boss boy. You can when he's in Pendulum Zone, you can play 6 counters to summon him, and then you can destroy cards on the field up to the number of cards you can play spell counters on. So instead of having up to the number of spell counters you control, it's up to the number of cards you can play spell counters on, which is amazing because you'll usually always be popping 2, so that's really good. Monster effect will allow you to bounce back a any card you have with a spell counter, and gate the activation of a spell or trap card, or your opponent activates. And also since it's just a regular once per turn effect, you can use multiple Mighty Masters in a turn. Also, when you bounce that card back, this card gains the spell counters, and a Mighty Master with a spell counter cannot be targeted or destroyed with card effects, so that's amazing. Also, when it's killed in battle, you can search any normal spell card in your deck, so that's really amazing and really useful. So definitely recommend you play 3 of. So now we have 1 Servant and 2 Magisters. Servant got limited to 1 on the last ban list. I guess more collateral damage to help but try and hinder the meta, I guess. Yeah, sorry about the lens flare. I'm not trying to be like... what's his face? J.J. Abrams with all the lens flares. Okay, so yeah, Servant of Endymion, remove 3 counters from her when she's in the Pendulum Zone. Summon out any monster you can place a spell counter on from your deck, and herself from the Pendulum Zone. They both gain counters, so that's really good. You can summon out your big boss monster, summon out something like Reflection here, and bounce back your opponent's stuff. Summon out the mythical beasts. You can basically summon out almost any of the spell counter boys with this, and she's really used for that reason. She's also like the Supreme Gates in a way, so when she's destroying the monster zone, you can place her in the Pendulum Zone, so that's really nice. Also, I'm running 2 Magisters. The extra deck effect, you won't always see. It's very useful to have when you don't have both scales in, so definitely still want to use it. Its monster effect I really like using. Remove 3 spell counters during your opponent's turn and summon out a monster you can place a spell counter on. So something like, again, Reflection or any one of your big boss monsters. So you can disrupt your opponent's plays by using Reflection's effect to bounce. So yeah, definitely use these. 3 Reflection of Endymions. Again, Servant got hit, so we have to buff up our low scales. Yeah, your Pendulum effect to summon from the hand by removing 3 spell counters won't be used as often, but it is still really useful to have. When she's special summoned, you can you can target a card you control and a card your opponent controls and bounce those cards back. Also, yeah, the card you target has to have a spell counter, so yeah, that's obvious. And when you bounce that card, this card gains the spell counters. Also, when this card with the spell counter is destroyed by battle, you can add any Endymion card from your deck to your hand, so that's really useful. Definitely recommend to play 3 of as a bigger rank 7 engine now, because, you know, Servant's at 1. 3 Magical Abductors. It's one of at least two Rotas in the deck I have. So yeah, remove from place 3 spell counters from it. Search any Pendulum monster in the deck, which is extremely useful. Yeah, keep in mind to try and get all your spell counters. Try and get as many spell counters on this card as possible, and don't activate any other thing in scale with without knowing beforehand if your opponent's going to ash it or not. So because if this ends up getting removed and you end up searching around stuff and you have the wrong scale and you're like, oh crap, I can't do anything with this now because, you know, I just lock myself into monsters 0.5, which don't even exist. So, yeah. Okay, so yeah, 3 of because it helps search stuff and because it's low scale, so that's really nice. 2 Fairy Tale Lunas. Okay, so since we're playing Reflection of Endymion now, you really want to boost up the consistency of the deck. I found Fairy Tale Luna really fits the mold because 1, on normal summon, she searches any 1850 spellcaster monster, including herself, or just any monster with 1850 attack in general. So, also her effect to bounce is really useful because there's a lot of one-offs in extra decks and main decks these days. If you target those one-offs, you can really disrupt your opponent's plays quite a bit. So I'm running at least 2 of them for search capabilities and for disruption. Of course, we have one little spellbook, Magician of Prophecy, for for the spellbook engine. I only run 1 because I found 2 is a little bit bricky, and drawing into multiples of these is really stupid after you've gotten your whole spellbook engine out. So, yeah. Our mini mythical beast engine. Well, actually no, our somewhat sized mythical beast engine. 1 Cerberus, 2 Jackal Kings, and a Jackal. Cerberus searches these 3. This guy summons him and can negate monster effects, and this guy can just kill himself and place any card you control with a spell counter. So that's really nice when you have stuff like your Endymion out and you don't have any way to get a spell counter on him. So you can just put him in scale, pop him, put the scale on Endymion. So now he has a spell counter. So that means now you can protect him by card effects. And when he dies in battle, of course, you search a normal spell. So yeah. I have my Chronograph Sorcerer engine. Yeah, it's pretty obvious now because you want to try and get out some stuff as quickly as possible. Really helps during the opponent's turn as well. When you have another monster in hand you really wanted to get out last turn, but you couldn't because, you were disrupted. So when your card you control dies, special summon from hand, you also summon another monster. Also, when he's in Pendulum scale, you can pop him and summon this guy from your hand or deck. So he's really so they're really nice for that aspect. Definitely want to still play the engine. Now we have my Kendo stick. This is really nice because 1, it's a generic scale 9. It only returns to your hand when you Pendulum summon, so that means you can just reactivate him and gain more counters for your spell counter monsters. Normal summon effect you probably won't really see that much. So, yeah, definitely recommend you at least play 1 because, you can gain spell counters again after reactivating. Of course, next on the spells, we have mini spellbook engine, 2 secret, 1 knowledge. Yeah, searches, summon that guy, summon him, and then, yeah, it's basically for that. I don't have Crowley, so yeah, I'm just running this as the engine. So, extra draw power, more spell counters really helps with that aspect. Because of the lack of darks in this deck, I'm only playing 2 Allure of Darkness, because I found if you play too many Allures, you'll end up discarding your entire hand, then you won't be able to do anything. Of course, you'll set up before you do that, but I found 3 isn't the greatest sometimes, so I think 2 was enough. 3 Spell Power Mastery. This is a really damn good search card because 1, it searches any one of your Endymion cards in your deck, so it isn't just limited to your Pendulum monsters. It also places spell counters on cards you control up to the number of spell power masteries you control or in your graveyard. So you activate 1, you can place an extra spell counter on. So this is basically a 1 card, 2 spell counters, and so it makes getting stuff like Servant going off a lot easier because activate 1 of these while Servant's at scale. It'll end up gaining 2 counters instead because Master can place the second one on top. So yeah, it's really useful. Must play 3 of. 2 Game of Desires. I call this Game of Desires because this card likes fucking me over a lot with, the randomness of it. I only play 2 of because, well, we don't have stuff like Into the Void and Upstart Goblin, so, you just want to play 2 for now. 2 for now. Banishes 10, draw 2. Weirdest draw spell in the game, but very useful for that effect. It's still good. Still a nice plus card off that. 2 Mythical Institutions. Again, helps generate more spell counters. And you can root from play any number of spell counters on your field. Well, actually no. You can root from play up to a certain number of spell counters on the field, and you can add from your deck or extract to your hand a monster who's like spell counter oriented, or a Pendulum monster I think who is spell counter oriented from that place up to whose level is up to the number of the spell counters removed. So, for example, if you play 7 spell counters, you can add Endymion or Reflection or any of those guys. So it's really useful for that reason. I'll play at least 2. This works best with the mythical beasts because it places counters when mythical beasts you control are destroyed, so that's really nice. I only play 2. And of course we have our little field spells. We have Terraforming, obvious to search the field spell, Magical City of Endymion, and two Secret Villages spellcasters to really screw over your opponent. It's a bit of a double-edged sword because you really want to make sure you have a spell caster you can get on the field. I recommend combining this with Jackal King because in that case, Endymion was already negating your spells and your opponent's spells and traps, and Secret Village, from that matter, helps disrupt your opponent, making sure they have to try and making sure they have to wait a turn before they can get around village. In that sense, because they have to find a way around your Jackal King, which will negate your opponent's monster effects, and yada yada yada. It's really useful for that reason, yeah, of course, you play for that. Next on the extra deck, Electrumite got banned, so I'm playing 2 Daybreakers. There's pretty much the entire deck is spellcasters, so yeah, it's really useful for that reason. When it's link summoned, you gain a counter. When spellcasters are special summoned to zones this guy points to, it gains more counters. Also, you can remove from play 2 counters to destroy any card on the field, so that's really nice. Pop useless scales, pop opponent's back row, all that beautiful stuff. So definitely recommend playing 2. One underclock taker to deal with the big beefy opponents. I don't have beat cop, so he's really useful for that reason because there will be circumstances where you have a big beefy opponent's monster, say in a beer token, that you really want to try weakening down or something, or just like a big beefy monster in general, you want to try weakening down to give your monster a chance to try and run it over. So yeah, you want to have this. I run this for a good reason. It helps for that reason. You don't always see it, but again, circumstances, limited card stuff, yeah. 2 Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Cerberus. Phoenix helps get rid of back row by discarding cards. Cerberus deals with special summon monsters, I believe. Yeah, special summon monsters, pops, and when they're co-linked, you get to draw a card, so that's really nice. Zephyr Metaltron, big link 3 of the deck. When a guy who he points to that was summoned from the extra deck is destroyed by battle opponent's card effect, you can add from your graveyard on 1 face of Pendulums from your extra deck to your hand. So that's really useful. For that reason, so when stuff he points to dies, you can gain stuff. Usually your opponent will go for Zephyr first, so you wanna hope to God they don't. But other than that, it's a really good link 3 you play. Unchained Abomination, pretty much guaranteed. You can destroy 1 card. You can destroy up to 3 cards with this thing, which is really good. Very worthwhile link 3. So because during the end phase, you're always you can destroy any card on the field, so that's really nice. Yeah, you definitely want to run him. Considering Saruja as well, but I guess since we're not running a big enough of a spam engine, you don't want to run Saruja. 1 Borolo Dragon to steal your opponent's monsters when they battle. 1 Borolo Dragon to fight, to do OTKs because, switch defense, steal half the attack, can attack twice, so yeah, you definitely want to do that. Baguska, you won't see him very often, but it helps disrupt your opponent's combos. Of course, a lot of decks like Danger will have ways around this, so you want to be careful when you use this. Tornado Dragon to deal with even more back row that Nightmare Phoenix can't at the time, so yeah, very useful for that reason, and 2100 attack. It's also good for late game as well. Abyss Dweller to deal with the opponent's graveyard. Salamangreats and Orchestra are still around, so you definitely want to still have this. Again, you won't see him as often, but when you do, you really want to use him. Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. There's at least 6 level 7s in the deck, so when you pull him off, your opponent's taking 500 damage each time they basically do something. Basically activate card effects and stuff, which is a lot of the meta today. So playing this is really useful because it helps weaken down your opponent, and especially for time as well. Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon and Vortex Dragon, Odd Eyes package, obviously. You would link summon him away, and he would be summoned, and you can bounce back a special summon monster, so you definitely want to play those. Alright. So now, we're going to get on to the side deck, of course. So of course I'm playing 2 Nibirus. Yeah, Pendulum isn't the only deck that loves summoning up to over 5 monsters in a turn, so playing this will help deal with those monsters, and you give them a big beefy token, so you want to be careful when you do it. So I usually recommend go after when they have link monsters out and they're about to do the rest of their combos and stuff. See how that? You're about to go into a pretty control heavy meta, so you want to have Denko Sekkas to lock down your opponent's back rows. So that's really nice for that reason. Run that. Shame it can't be special summon because that would be hilarious if we could. 3 super polys to deal with the really big oppressive boards that can't be outed by conventional means. Means like Orcust, who protect themselves by card effects, and yeah, just a lot of decks that do that. It's really nice. Super poly targets, Dracostopelia, Starving Venom, and Carol Ferris. The Violet Chimera. And of course we have our 2 system downs to deal with Orcust, and I'm kind of confused why I'm running Ignite Reload. I feel like I should main deck it, because, you know, it's extra draw power, but I think for now it's alright like this. Hoping to find a 3rd system down at some point, but again, depends how long Orcust lives, I guess. Alright, I guess that's pretty much it. That was my Endymion deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe if you want, and hopefully later today I will be doing my Salamangreats deck profile. Updated because, you know, they shot the deck like they shot Pendulums. Other than that, that's pretty much it, and hope you guys have a wonderful day, and bye.